Here's our Nico Hoerner trade. Along with Jordan Wicks and Darius Hill, Wicks slides into the back of that rotation, and Darius Hill is an outfielder at AAA, so he would add more depth to the San Diego Padres outfield rotation.
That was Jim Riley with BALLCAP Sports. Great channel. Go check it out. It's in the description below, but I am going to counter this trade because I don't think it's happening. Before I go and break this thing down and counter that, I do want to talk to you about why I don't think it's a good trade or why I don't think it'll happen, mainly just because I don't think the Cubs would trade Cody Bellinger, Isaac Paredes, and Nico Hoerner in one offseason. I did say that those three guys, and it was rumored all offseason long that those three guys were on the trade block, but I always thought it would be one of the three. I was surprised to see two of the three. I think 3 out of 3 is basically close to impossible, especially because Nico is dealing with recovering from an injury. I don't think his value is as high to a lot of other teams right now because they want to see him recover first. So Jordan Wicks actually made sense. I do like that side of it. Darius Hill, he's not even a Cubs top 30 prospect. I would imagine the Padres would want someone a little bit more ready or a little bit more of a ceiling. Let's take a look at what I would counter with. We're going to use baseball trade values just like we always do, just like Jim Riley does. And I want to actually look at Jim's proposal. It's pretty close. If you never have used baseball trade values before, by the way, it's only $25 for the year. It's definitely a lot of fun, worth it to me. They base it on this number surplus. Surplus is essentially taking the salary, subtracting it from the actual value of the player, and then you get this surplus, which essentially means, and all this is kind of combined with how many years of control, what's their actual performance on the field, and then, of course, once again, take it away from the salary. Is it a good contract? Is it a bad contract? So what they have right now for Dylan Cease is 33.6, and what Jim Riley recommended was for the Cubs, Nico Hoerner, Jordan Wicks, Darius Hill at 31.9. So the Cubs actually come out on top on this one. Now, I want to remind everyone, Dylan Cease only has 1 year of control left. Nico Hoerner has 2. Jordan Wicks, I believe, at 5. Darius Hill at 6. So once again, it's a very similar trade to the Kyle Tucker one of you're giving away 12-ish years, a little bit more, of control of players for 1 year of a really good pitcher. And so that's extremely risky. And I think the biggest risk that you see in this is the biggest thing that is not compared to with the Kyle Tucker thing is, you don't give away one of your top prospects that could be a star one day. Jordan Wicks is going to be a serviceable major league pitcher. Nico Hoerner right now is a great second baseman. Darius Hill is, by all accounts, not going to be a star one day. So that's how you stomach this one. And it doesn't make me upset to think about this trade. I just don't think it's going to happen because of Nico Hoerner. Now, my counter does have the Cubs getting slightly more value, but I do like the spread of risk for the Padres, and we're going with Kevin Alcantara because when you look at the Padres outfield situation, you see 2 outfielders and 2 really big question marks. Brandon Lockridge and Tirso Ornelas. I'm not even sure I know who that is. Apologies if he's a bigger deal than I know about. But you've got really 2 legitimately good outfielders, and you need a little bit more depth or at least a MLB-ready outfielder to try and slot in there. And that's why I'm going with Kevin Alcantara. Jim Riley went with Darius Hill. I don't think Darius Hill is going to even make the Cubs team in 2025. There would have to be a lot of things that go wrong with the Cubs organization for him to be making some sort of appearance based on how much of a logjam there is in the outfield. But that doesn't make him any better for the Padres. I think he's going to be a guy that probably is going to struggle to make any sort of impact in 2025. So for that reason, I think Kevin Alcantara could slot in there and be at a 16.7, kind of the headliner for the surplus number here. He could be the guy that the Padres would be really excited about slotting in right away. Jordan Wicks, again, just like Jim Riley did, I think that would be a great fit. Brandon Birdsell, I think he would be difficult to give up here for the Cubs just given the lack of starting pitching depth right now. It makes me a little bit nervous to throw him in there, but I do think that he would be a guy that the Padres would value. And the Cubs, at the end of the day, do see him kind of as a back-of-the-rotation guy. So, once again, not a huge ceiling, but could make an impact in 25. And then Brody McCullough, he's the Cubs' number 22 prospect. He's a pitcher, and he's expected to make his debut as early as this year, finished in Double-A last year. So, I like the spread of risk for the Padres on this one because they get 3 pitchers and an outfielder that could come up right away and make an impact. And for the Padres, I mean, you look at their infield situation, and I don't think that they need another infielder. I don't think they need a Nico Hoerner. I know Jim Riley in this says Jake Cronenworth can go to the outfield. Sure, that's fine. But I think the Padres would probably rather have a legitimate outfielder and then maybe throw in a few more pitchers. And I don't know. I like that one better for them, even though it is 29.8 for the Padres. 33.6 for the Cubs, so you got about a 4 surplus spread there. I think it gets made up in the fact that you give another guy to the Padres, and Brody McCullough, number 22 prospect in a very good minor league system, has, to me, a higher ceiling than a Darius Hill, who's not a Cubs top 30 prospect. So I think the spread of risk and the opportunity for one of these guys to turn into a dude is higher. So with that being said, as you guys always know, I do love to make trade proposals myself. I do like to examine them. And usually we do a kind of taking a look at the trade simulator here, the trade boards, and we see what have other people said. But because I spent most of the time talking about the Jim Riley one, I want to still give a chance for Mr. Roger Bricker to share his. And if you guys want to share your trade proposal, make sure that you email it to me. Kyle@setupman.net. Kyle@setupman.net. Roger sent one in. He does not have baseball trade values, so he kind of said, hey, I don't know what this looks like, but he said this is kind of his dream package. Man, I read it initially, and I was like, ooh, that hurts. And then I look at baseball trade value, and it's like, whoa, interesting. So what we're looking at here is Cubs and Guardians, Emmanuel Clase and Jose Ramirez going to the Cubs. Big one, right? That would be exciting. Guardians get a lot of top prospects. Moises Ballesteros, Cade Horton, James Triantos, and then they also get Nico Hoerner and Jordan Wicks. Whoo! Man, I mean, you just feel like your entire future is gone there, right? So with that being said, 126.2 is the surplus coming from the Guardians to the Cubs. And then the Guardians, believe it or not, that's only 87.3. You would have to throw in, if you just want to throw in one more player, you would have to throw in like a Justin Steele to make this even in the same ballpark according to baseball trade values. But I don't know. Now, the things I do like about this is you've got 8 years of control, 6 to 8 years mainly, but basically 8 years of control of Clase plus Ramirez, because Clase's contract, he has got 2 years left, and then it's 2 club options in 27 and 28 for $10 million each. Jose Ramirez, you have 4 years of control, and the AAV is $20 million per year. Already, this means that the Cubs would be pushing that first luxury tax threshold, and you know how much they hate to do that. But on the other side, let's assume we do have to throw Justin Steele into this mix, which at that point, if you do throw Justin Steele into it, the good news is you can probably remove either like a James Triantos or a Jordan Wicks. Maybe you can remove, it's probably got to be James Triantos based on just the surplus. And if you're going to give away Nico Hoerner, you should keep James Triantos, right? That would be the thought. So that makes it almost identical, 126.2 versus 126.1 in favor of the Cubs. But I don't like 6 years of control of Moises Ballesteros, gone. Cade Horton, 6 years of control, gone. Justin Steele, 3 years of control, gone. Jordan Wicks, I believe, 5 years of control, gone. Nico Hoerner, not all-star yet, but a Gold Glove second baseman, along with just a really, you like the contact. That's always been something in a day and age where there's a lot of swing and miss. I love the contact, and I love the base running. There's so many things to like about Nico Hoerner. It would be tough to stomach this one. I don't think I could do it. I just don't think I can do it. You take out Justin Steele and you add James Triantos back in there, I might be okay with that, but you can see there's a lot, according to baseball trade values, it's not an even trade. Oh, I don't know. I don't know, Roger. It really is like one of those. The Kyle Tucker one, I was like, okay, listen, Cam Smith, he's only had 30 games of professional experience. There's a lot that could happen in that time. But man, when you start talking about 3 to 4 guys who are right there, Moises Ballesteros, Cade Horton, James Triantos, Jordan Wicks, they're right there. That's tough. That's really tough. I don't know. Would you guys do it? Let me know in the comments. That's going to be it for this version of our trade proposals. Please submit yours next time. Kyle at setupman.net. Thank you, guys.